today GT-R. Here we go. These have been sitting for quite some time unused. Cobb Accessport, and then my new Injector Dynamics fuel injectors. So these I picked up from AAM Competition. Those guys have a ton of all the parts for the 370Zs and the Nissan GT-R. Mike over at AAM has hooked me up with the new set of injectors and a stage 3 tune for the Accessport, so I can officially complete the stage 3 straight pipe Nissan GT-R. This is gonna be full bolt-ons and a tune, roughly 600 wheel horsepower, and hopefully even spitting some flames eventually. But anyway guys, welcome back to another daily video. Today we are installing the fuel injectors and the stage 3 tune for the GT-R. So then starting with underneath the engine for the GT-R, I already do have AAM's 3-inch air intake. That makes this car up to a stage 2, and with their stage 2 tune and everything, the car is insane. I have the AAM upper intercooler pipes with the upgraded recirculation valves, so a really good setup so far. Now with the catless downpipes and the full straight pipe exhaust system, we gotta replace the fuel injectors, which are underneath the intake manifold, and then can get this thing all squared away. So once again, massive shout out to AAM Competition. They have all the parts you'll need to make your GT-R stage 3 or stage 2 or whatever you're even looking for, even crazy upgraded turbos. So then first things first, we're just gonna time lapse the few quick things. Engine cover comes off with some bolts, and then these pipes gotta be removed. So the easy part is done. I didn't need to show this in full detail because if you're doing fuel injectors, you've already done your new intakes, which means you've already taken all this stuff off before, no big deal. So next up, it looks like we just have a few things we need to take off of the actual manifold. The manifold is just this part here with the throttle bodies. So it looks like this bolt right here, maybe one right here, I don't know about this piece. And some breather hoses on the back here, a wiring harness, and then I think a few bolts back there. I can lift it from the front. So this one I pushed it in the centerpiece. I got it up enough. Alright, that is the manifold off. That was not that bad. And then very carefully, we're gonna put a rag over the cylinder heads or the opening, that way nothing gets in there and gets into the cylinders. So now we're moving on to the fun part, I guess you would say, is actually getting this fuel rail off and then installing the new fuel injectors. Actually, I really don't know exactly what I'm looking at. I think they have like 4 bolts. There's one right there, probably the same on this side. That should be it to at least get the fuel rail up in the air. Now just to give me a little bit more access, I'm gonna take this part off a little bit just to get things out of the way, because this thing is just free floating. Now, so far everything has pretty much been a 10mm or a 12mm. These are 12mm bolts. Everything's pretty uniform with this car. They don't really diversify with their bolts, which makes it a little bit easier. Now, this is the critical spot. You do not want to drop a bolt into the engine. Now, these bolts are kind of tight, so you got to give them a little bit of muscle to get them off. You can hear them crack loose. So that's 4 bolts out. We actually have 1 more in the far corner. So first I'm actually going to take these little clips out. So there is 1 metal retainer clip out. Hopefully I can just pull these out. I don't know if the fuel rail is going to come off of the injector, which actually looks like the case. Okay, we have fuel leaking now, so yeah, this is going to get gas everywhere. Yeah, so we have a lot of fuel leaking. Definitely have a fire extinguisher ready, and we'll try to do our best to clean it up before I actually go to start it. So then to start on one side, looks like, yeah, they just kind of pop right out. Make sure the O-rings come off as well. So we have one on here and one on this side, and then we can just unclip these. And that is the fuel injector right out. So that is all the fuel injectors out. You can probably see the gas puddling down there. That is not good. You can see the reflection. So definitely clean that up. Hopefully it's all puddled in the same spot. Actually, it looks like that. It looks like it's all just puddled in one spot, so I should be able to clean it nicely. The disassembly has been complete. It really didn't take too long. It's pretty straightforward, but that is that. So now onto the actual fuel injector installation. I've already gone ahead and done 5 of them just to make sure I know exactly what I'm doing. So in the kit, here is the actual fuel injector. There's this little metal retainer clip. This is the same ones that we had taken off the other ones that clipped it to the fuel rail. I've already taken them all off, so I'm gonna have to take that off. And then here is the plug and play piece. And then you wanna make sure it clips into place nicely as well. All right, that is in place. Now we're gonna bring the fuel injector over and we're gonna clip that into the actual harness itself. And then find the injector hole and we're just gonna slide it into it. It's only gonna go down a little bit, but just make sure we get a nice good wiggle in there. But now everything's in place, everything is still loose, it's not gonna be like bolted in right now. And then with these wires, kind of just tuck them into the grooves. I think that's probably the best way. Obviously you now have more cables and plugs than you did before. Now real quick, I thought I was running into an issue with the fuel rail not sitting flat against these pieces right here. You really just have to push it and connect, there you go, the injector into the new piece. Remember when I said to take these little thingies off? Don't actually do that, that is wrong. They actually just hold the fuel injector together. They do not re-clip it to the top there. So all the injectors and fuel rail are back into place like normal. Now it's just reassembly. You guys saw how to take it off, so it's the same thing, just in reverse order. We're gonna put the intake manifold on, all the bolts, all the connections, and then pop the intercooler pipes on, and then we can flash the ECU, and we are done. The actual installation is all complete. Everything is put back together. I'm leaving the engine cover off for right now, just so I can monitor everything a little bit better. But now we got the Cobb tune with AAM's tune already loaded onto it. We're gonna go ahead and flash the ECU, get this thing rolling, and then hopefully start it up. All right, so we're gonna get the Accessport up and running, and then go down to our tune, and then change ECU map. This first one right here, so we're gonna click on it. And you guys, of course, have done this already on your own cars if you're on the stage of doing the fuel injectors. Very straightforward, just gonna follow what the Accessport says. And I recommend having your window down, that way you can actually be outside the vehicle to do this. It is going to do its magic. And all the codes and everything are gonna be going crazy on the dash right now. And now it's saying to turn the ignition off. That only took like 10 minutes. So as a recap, everything is done in the engine bay. The new tune has been loaded. As far as a safety measure, just because we did have some fuel spilling all over the inside of the engine, I'm going to pop out my fire extinguisher. Just have this thing ready just in case. I'm not planning on my car to catch on fire because of the fuel, but I don't know if there's a cleaner way to get the fuel injectors and fuel rail out without spilling gas everywhere. But this is a really cheap way to have some good insurance. So I'm just gonna keep this right over here, start up the car, let it idle for a second, and then just pull it right outside, let it idle for a little bit more. Hopefully everything gets warmed up. So we'll go ahead and turn the ignition on. I got the Cobb set up just so I can see everything nicely. I don't know if I have to prime the system because the fuel rails are now not full of gas, but here we go. So I'm guessing that was just because the fuel getting used to everything. Okay, check engine light right now, but we're gonna go ahead and pull it outside. I'm assuming that's because there was no fuel in it for a split second. We're gonna let it idle for a little bit, but I'll go ahead and at least read the codes just to see what the car is saying. I'm assuming it's fuel related or something. Okay, just took a quick look at the engine bay. It looks like I did not plug in this plug right here for the intercooler pipe. That could be throwing everything off. Let's get that bad boy plugged in. Okay, so that is plugged in officially. I'm pretty confident everything else is plugged in. Throttle bodies have been plugged in. That one is. I think everything else is plugged in. I can't remember any other plugs, but the ECU has been flashed, so I don't think there should be an issue if I start it up again. All right, so no check engine light has come on right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive the car around the neighborhood. We're gonna have to wait for another video to really get the good sound clips of how this exhaust is. It's kind of rainy today and very wet out, so I'm not gonna get any traction. But at least we'll drive the car around, get it up to some temperatures. But everything idles smooth, everything feels normal. Shifting normal, air fuel ratio just chilling. We're just slowly getting everything up to temp. And again, that triangle is just for the tire pressure. But I think that's about gonna wrap up today's video. That's how you install the fuel injectors for the Nissan GT-R and then do the stage 3 tune. Be sure to stay tuned for the next video. Literally stay tuned, because that's when we're gonna really test out the exhaust, see what it sounds like, actually rip on the car. So next video I do with the car is going to be basically reacted to driving this thing, stage 3, full bolt-on, 93 octane Nissan GT-R. That is gonna be a beast of a car. Once again, huge shout out to AAM Competition. They sent me the tune for this setup, and that's the website I use to order the Injector Dynamics fuel injector, so definitely check out AAM. We'll have all their information down in the description below. But that wraps up today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Give it a huge thumbs up, smash the subscribe button. We have videos go live every single day at 9 a.m., so definitely stay tuned for that. So that is it for the video. We'll see you guys next video.